Welcome to the deep dive. We're going on a journey today.
Oh, where to?
We're diving deep into the world of microscopy.
Ah, the invisible world.
Yeah. It's amazing to think that we walk around thinking we see everything.
Right.
But there's this whole universe of detail that's hidden from us.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to explore how we've learned to see the unseen.
I love it, using powerful tools to uncover this hidden world.
Exactly. It's fascinating how these tools reveal so much complexity and beauty.
It really is, and our understanding of life itself was completely transformed when we first gained the ability to see this microscopic world.
It's true. And we'll be using excerpts from Microbiology Q&A too, How We See the Invisible World.
Sounds like a good read.
It is, and I'm so excited to have you here to guide us through it.
Happy to be here.
You have this incredible way of making complex concepts.
Oh, you're too kind.
No, really. You make them crystal clear.
Well, I try my best. I'm happy to share my passion for microscopy.
I can tell.
It's such a fundamental field. It really underpins so much of what we know about the world.
Absolutely. So let's get started.
Yeah.
First things first. How do microscopes actually work?
Ah, the big question. It all begins with light.
Light.
Yeah. Understanding how it behaves is key. Think about a magnifying glass.
Okay.
It uses a simple convex lens to bend light rays,
I see.
focusing them to enlarge the image.
Like a super-powered magnifying glass.
Exactly. But instead of a single lens, microscopes use a combination of lenses,
Oh, I see.
carefully shaped to manipulate light in precise ways.
It's not just about bending light.
No, it's not just bending light. It's called refraction, by the way.
Refraction.
Right. But microscopes also use other properties of light,
Like what?
like reflection and absorption, to create contrast.
So we can see the tiny structures?
Precisely.
So light does all the heavy lifting.
You could say that. And it all started with a curious Dutchman named Antonie van Leeuwenhoek.
Leeuwenhoek.
Back in the late 1600s, he was a true pioneer, crafting his own single-lens microscopes.
Wow, he made them himself.
He did, and they were surprisingly powerful for the time.
That's incredible. So what did he see with these microscopes?
Well, he turned his lenses on everything.
Like what?
Pond water, the scrapings of his own teeth, you name it.
Wow.
And what he saw
Yeah,
absolutely revolutionized our understanding of the world.
I bet.
He was the first to observe microorganisms,
Microorganisms.
tiny living creatures he called animalcules, just swimming around in a drop of water.
Whoa. I bet that was a shock.
It was a paradigm shift. Imagine thinking you understand how the world works,
Right.
and then suddenly
Yeah.
you see this whole teeming universe of microscopic life.
It must have blown his mind.
It did. Before Leeuwenhoek, people had no idea these creatures existed.
It's crazy to think about.
It is. And his discoveries sparked a wave of scientific inquiry, ultimately leading to the development of cell theory,
Cell
the
theory.
foundation of modern biology.
Wow, so his work had a huge impact. It's amazing how one person's curiosity can lead to such profound changes.
I know, right?
It's a testament to the power of observation.
Absolutely. And to the importance of tools that extend our senses.
Like microscopes.
Exactly. Leeuwenhoek's simple microscopes paved the way for the incredible diversity of microscopic techniques we have today.
It's amazing. Okay, so we've got light, lenses,
Yes.
and this incredible historical context.
Right.
But there are so many different types of microscopes out there.
There are.
Where do we even begin?
Well, let's think of it as a family tree.
Okay.
The earliest microscopes, like Leeuwenhoek's,
Yeah.
they used just a single lens. But soon, scientists developed compound microscopes,
Compound microscopes.
which use multiple lenses to achieve higher magnification.
So more lenses, more power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as our understanding of light grew, so did the sophistication of our microscopes. Let's start with the light microscope, the workhorse of many labs.
I remember using a light microscope in high school biology. You shine a light through a sample,
Right.
you see a magnified image.
That's called bright field microscopy, the most basic type.
Bright field microscopy.
But sometimes you need to get a bit more creative
Oh,
to visualize what you're looking at.
in what way?
Well, for example, if you're trying to observe a specimen that doesn't absorb much light,
I see.
it can be difficult to see against a bright background.
So how do you see something that's almost transparent?
That's where dark field microscopy comes in.
Dark field.
It uses a special condenser,
Okay.
which focuses light onto the sample from the sides.
From the side.
Yeah, so only the light that's scattered by the sample reaches the objective lens,
Interesting.
making the specimen appear brightly lit against a dark background.
Oh, that's clever. It's like using a spotlight to highlight something in the dark.
Exactly.
But what about living cells? I remember having to stain them with dyes to see anything.
Staining is certainly one approach,
Right.
but it can alter or even kill the cells you're trying to observe.
That's not good.
Not ideal. Luckily, we have techniques like phase contrast microscopy,
Phase contrast.
which takes advantage of the fact that light travels at different speeds through different parts of a cell.
So light travels differently through different parts of a cell.
Yes. This creates subtle differences in the way light waves interfere with each other,
Okay.
resulting in contrast in the image.
So you can actually see the internal structures of a living cell without killing it.
Precisely.
That's amazing.
And then there's fluorescence microscopy,
Okay.
which is even more specialized.
Oh,
It uses fluorescent dyes that bind to specific molecules within a cell.
wow.
When you shine a specific wavelength of light on the sample, these dyes emit light of a different color.
So they glow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make the targeted structures glow against a dark background.
It's like highlighting specific parts of a cell with different colors.
Exactly.
What a powerful tool.
It is. And these are just a few examples of the many types of light microscopes we have today. Each has its own strengths and applications, allowing us to explore the microscopic world in incredible detail.
That's amazing. So light microscopy is all about manipulating light to reveal the invisible.
Yes.
But I know there are even more powerful tools out there, like electron microscopes.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, how do those work?
Well, with electron microscopes, we move beyond the limitations of visible light.
Interesting.
Instead of using photons, we use beams of electrons to illuminate the sample.
Electrons. How does that even work?
It's a bit more complex, but the basic principle is similar to light microscopy.
Okay,
We use magnets to focus a beam of electrons onto a sample.
I see.
And the way those electrons interact with the sample allows us to create an image.
So it's like a microscope, but with electrons instead of light.
Exactly. And because electrons have a much shorter wavelength than visible light,
Okay.
electron microscopes can achieve significantly higher resolution.
So we can see even smaller things.
Yes. Things even smaller than what's visible with the most powerful light microscopes.
That's incredible.
It's like opening a new window into the world of the ultra-small.
Wow. Okay, so that's electron microscopy in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
But I'm guessing there are different types of electron microscopes too, right?
You're absolutely right. There are two main types.
What are they?
The transmission electron microscope, or TEM,
TEM?
and the scanning electron microscope, or SEM.
SEM. All right, let's break those down.
Yep.
What's the difference between TEM and SEM?
Well, with a TEM, we transmit a beam of electrons through a very thin slice of the sample.
So the sample.
Yeah. This creates a 2D image that reveals the internal structure of the specimen in incredible detail.
Amazing.
Almost like taking an X-ray of a cell.
So we can see the inner workings of a cell with a TEM.
Exactly.
What about SEM?
SEM works a bit differently. Instead of transmitting electrons through the sample,
Right.
we scan a focused beam of electrons across its surface.
I see.
The electrons interact with the sample's surface,
Okay.
producing signals that are then used to create a 3D image.
Oh, cool. So with SEM, we get a 3D view.
A highly detailed, three-dimensional view of the surface of an object.
It's like exploring a tiny alien landscape.
You could say that. And the images produced by both TEM and SEM are absolutely stunning.
I bet.
They reveal details that are simply impossible to see with light microscopy,
It's mind-blowing.
offering a glimpse into a world that was once completely hidden from our view.
I'm already feeling overwhelmed by all this amazing technology.
I know, right?
But I know there's even more, right?
Yeah.
We also have these things called scanning probe microscopes,
Oh, yes.
which take us even closer to the atomic level.
You're right. Scanning probe microscopy is a whole other branch of this incredible family tree.
Okay.
These microscopes use a tiny, sharp probe to physically interact with the surface of a sample.
Physically interact, so they're not using light or electrons at all.
Exactly. It's a completely different approach.
Wow.
The probe scans across the surface,
Okay.
measuring various properties like height, magnetism, or electrical conductivity.
And those measurements are used to create an image.
Yes, a highly detailed map of the surface.
So we're literally tracing the contours of a surface
Yeah,
at the atomic level.
that's a great way to put it. And the level of detail we can get with these techniques is astounding.
Astounding. I know there are a couple of different types of scanning probe microscopes, right?
You're right again.
What are they called? And how do they work?
Well, one of the most well-known is the scanning tunneling microscope, or STM.
STM.
The STM uses a very fine tip.
How fine?
just a single atom wide,
Wow.
to scan a surface. As the tip moves, electrons tunnel between the tip and the sample.
Tunnel.
Yeah, creating a tiny electrical current.
I see.
By measuring this current, the STM can map the surface with atomic resolution.
Wait, we can actually see individual atoms?
We can.
That's mind-blowing.
It's like being able to read the atomic braille of a surface.
And what's the other type?
The atomic force microscope.
AFM.
Which works a bit differently. The AFM uses a sharp tip attached to a tiny cantilever,
Okay.
a bit like a miniature diving board.
I can picture that.
As the tip scans across the surface, it encounters forces from the atoms on the sample,
Oh.
causing the cantilever to bend.
Oh.
By measuring these tiny deflections,
Mm-hmm.
the AFM can create an image of the surface topography.
With incredible detail.
Incredible detail.
It's like having a finger that's sensitive enough to feel individual atoms.
That's a great analogy. And these techniques have revolutionized our understanding of materials at the nanoscale,
It's fascinating.
allowing us to study everything from DNA to the surfaces of microchips.
Okay, so we've gone from light to electrons to physical probes,
Yeah.
and each step has taken us closer to the atomic world.
Closer and closer.
It's incredible to think how far we've come from those early single-lens microscopes.
It is. It's a testament to human ingenuity
Absolutely.
and our desire to explore the unseen world.
But before we go further down this rabbit hole,
Haha.
let's pause for a second
Sure.
and talk about how we actually prepare samples for microscopy.
All right.
I vaguely remember staining things in high school biology class.
Oh, yeah.
Is that still a thing?
Absolutely. Staining techniques are just as crucial today as they were centuries ago.
Really?
They're essential for enhancing contrast and making specific structures visible under a microscope.
So it's like adding color to a black and white sketch.
Exactly. Suddenly, the details pop.
Right, so it's not just about magnifying the image.
It's not just about magnifying.
It's also about highlighting the important features.
Yes, so we can actually see what we're looking at.
I see.
And there's a wide array of staining techniques, each designed for specific purposes.
Interesting.
One of the most fundamental techniques is called gram staining,
Gram staining.
which is used to differentiate between two major groups of bacteria.
Oh yeah, gram staining. I remember learning about that.
You do?
You stain the bacteria and they either turn purple or pink, right?
Exactly. Gram-positive bacteria, which have a thick peptidoglycan layer in their cell walls, retain the crystal violet stain and appear purple.
Okay.
Gram-negative bacteria, on the other hand,
Right.
have a thinner peptidoglycan layer and an outer membrane.
I see.
So they don't retain the crystal violet and are counterstained with safranin,
So they turn pink.
giving them a pink color.
So this seemingly simple color difference actually tells us something really important about the structure of these bacteria.
It does.
Why does that matter?
Well, knowing the gram status of a bacterium helps doctors determine the appropriate antibiotic treatment.
Oh, wow.
Certain antibiotics work better against gram-positive bacteria,
Okay.
while others are more effective against gram-negative bacteria.
I see.
So this simple staining technique can actually have a big impact on patient care.
That's incredible. Who knew that a little bit of dye could hold such crucial information? So gram staining is all about differentiating between types of bacteria.
It is.
What are some other staining techniques used for?
Well, there are countless staining methods out there,
Wow.
each targeting specific structures or molecules.
Like what?
Some stains highlight the nucleus of a cell,
Okay.
while others reveal the intricate network of the cytoskeleton.
The cytoskeleton?
We even have fluorescent stains that can illuminate specific proteins within a cell,
Wow.
allowing us to track their movements and interactions.
So it's like having a whole palette of colors to paint the microscopic world.
Exactly. And these techniques continue to evolve,
That's amazing.
giving us even more powerful tools to visualize and understand the complexity of life at the microscopic level.
This is already so much to take in, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
We are. But before we get too overwhelmed,
Yeah.
let's talk about two key concepts that are often confused:
Okay.
magnification and resolution.
Magnification and resolution.
They may sound similar, but
Yeah.
they're actually quite different.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the difference between magnification and resolution?
Well, magnification is simply the ability to make something appear larger.
Okay.
It's like using a zoom lens on a camera.
Right.
But resolution is the ability to distinguish between two closely spaced objects.
I see.
It's what determines the level of detail we can see.
So it's not just about making things bigger. It's about Being able to see them clearly.
Exactly.
I can see how that would be crucial for studying tiny structures.
Absolutely. Imagine you're looking at a blurry photograph.
Okay.
You can zoom in and make it bigger,
Right.
but it's still blurry.
I see.
That's because the resolution is low.
Right.
No matter how much you magnify it, you won't see any more detail.
Right. It's like trying to read tiny print in a blurry photo.
Exactly.
No matter how close you get, you're not going to see the letters any better.
Exactly. So high resolution is what allows us to see those tiny details.
The intricate structures that make up the microscopic world.
Precisely. And there are several factors that affect resolution,
Like what?
including the wavelength of the light or electrons used and the numerical aperture of the lens.
Okay, numerical aperture. That sounds a bit technical.
It does, but it's not that complicated.
Can you explain that in a way that even I can understand?
Of course. Think of it like this.
Mm.
The numerical aperture of a lens describes how well it gathers light.
Gathers light.
Yes, it's a measure of its ability to capture light rays coming from the sample and focus them to create an image.
So a higher numerical aperture means a better ability to gather light, leading to a sharper image.
Exactly. And that's crucial for achieving high resolution.
I see.
In fact, the resolution of a microscope is ultimately limited by the wavelength of light or electrons used and the numerical aperture of the lens.
So shorter wavelengths and higher numerical apertures lead to better resolution.
Precisely.
It's like having a sharper lens that lets in more light.
Exactly. And this understanding of resolution is fundamental to pushing the boundaries of microscopy and revealing even more details of the unseen world.
So we're constantly striving to improve resolution.
We are.
To see things with greater clarity and precision.
Absolutely.
Wow, we've covered so much ground already. I feel like we've taken a whirlwind tour through the world of microscopy.
It has been a lot.
But I'm sure there's still so much more to explore.
Oh, there is. Now that we've laid the groundwork, we can start delving into some of the amazing applications of microscopy.
Hey?
These techniques aren't just about exploring the tiny world for the sake of curiosity.
Right.
They have a profound impact on countless aspects of our lives.
Oh, I'm sure.
From medicine and material science to forensics and environmental research.
That's a great point. I'm really excited to hear about the real-world impact of these microscopic techniques.
Me too.
Mm.
Get ready for some truly incredible stories about how we're using these powerful tools
I'm ready.
to solve crimes, develop new materials, diagnose diseases, and unlock the secrets of life itself.
Amazing.
It's mind-boggling to think about the impact of something as simple as a microscope.
You're telling me we've just started exploring this microscopic universe.
Yes.
And I'm already hooked, so tell me,
Okay.
where are these amazing microscopes making a difference?
Well, let's start with medicine.
Medicine.
Microscopes are absolutely essential in healthcare.
I can imagine.
Doctors use them every day
For what?
to examine blood samples, tissue biopsies,
Oh.
even surgical specimens during procedures.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. But what are they looking for at the microscopic level?
They're looking for clues that
Mhm.
can help diagnose and treat diseases.
Like what?
Well, they can identify cancerous cells, detect bacterial or viral infections,
Yeah.
and they can even analyze the effects of medications on cells and tissues.
So it's like having a detective's magnifying glass for the human body.
Exactly. And with the advancements in microscopy,
Yeah.
we can now visualize things in incredible detail.
Really?
Fluorescence microscopy, for example,
Okay.
allows doctors to pinpoint specific molecules within cells,
Pinpoint specific molecules.
helping them track the progression of diseases and monitor the effectiveness of treatments.
So it's like seeing the disease itself at a molecular level.
Precisely.
That's amazing.
And it's not just about diagnosing diseases.
Right.
Microscopes also play a crucial role in developing new treatments and therapies.
Really? How so?
Scientists use them to study how drugs interact with cells,
Okay.
how the immune system responds to pathogens,
I see.
and how stem cells differentiate into specialized tissues.
So microscopes are helping us understand the fundamental mechanisms of disease
Exactly.
and develop new ways to fight back. It's like we're wielding these powerful tools to wage war against illness.
That's a great analogy. And it's not just in medicine where microscopy is making a difference.
Really? Where else?
These techniques are also revolutionizing material science.
Material science. What do microscopes have to do with that?
Well, think about all the materials we rely on in our daily lives.
Like what?
Metals, plastics, ceramics,
Okay.
even the semiconductors in our smartphones and computers.
Right.
All of these materials have a microscopic structure that dictates their properties.
So by looking at these materials under a microscope, we can understand why they behave the way they do.
Exactly. Microscopes allow scientists to analyze the arrangement of atoms and molecules within materials,
I see.
revealing their crystal structure, defects, and grain boundaries.
Wow.
This information is crucial for designing new materials with specific properties,
Like what?
like stronger and lighter alloys for aircraft,
Oh.
or more efficient solar panels.
Okay, so it's like being an architect.
Yeah,
But instead of designing buildings, we're designing materials at the atomic level.
you've got it. And it's not just about making existing materials better.
Oh.
Microscopes are also helping us create entirely new materials with unique properties.
Like what?
Nanotechnology, for example,
Okay.
relies heavily on microscopy to manipulate materials at the nanoscale.
At the nanoscale.
Yeah, leading to innovations like self-cleaning surfaces,
Oh.
targeted drug delivery systems,
Wow.
and even ultra-strong fabrics.
This is blowing my mind. I had no idea microscopes were so versatile.
They are.
But wait, there's more, right?
Yeah.
I remember hearing about how microscopes are used in forensics.
Absolutely. Microscopes are indispensable tools for crime scene investigators.
Oh, wow.
They're used to analyze trace evidence.
Right? What?
Fibers, hair, paint chips,
Okay.
even soil samples.
So it's like those crime shows where they zoom in on a tiny piece of evidence
Yeah,
and suddenly the case breaks wide open.
exactly. Microscopes can reveal a wealth of information about the source of a piece of evidence.
Like what?
Well, for example, by analyzing the structure and composition of a fiber found at a crime scene,
Right.
investigators can determine the type of fabric it came from,
I see.
potentially linking it to a suspect or a specific location.
Wow, so we're talking about using microscopic clues to solve real-life mysteries.
We are.
It's like Sherlock Holmes, but with high-tech tools. What other forensic applications are there?
Well, microscopes are also used to analyze ballistics evidence,
Ballistics.
like bullet fragments and cartridge casings, by examining the microscopic markings left on these objects.
Okay.
Forensic scientists can match them to a specific firearm,
Wow.
providing crucial evidence in criminal investigations.
So every bullet tells a story, even at the microscopic level.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And even in cases where there's no physical evidence,
Yeah.
microscopy can still play a role.
Really?
Forensic pathologists use microscopes to examine tissue samples during autopsies,
Nice.
helping them determine the cause of death.
So we're using microscopes to uncover the truth,
Yes.
to piece together the events that led to a crime, or even a death.
Absolutely.
It's incredible to think about the power of these seemingly simple tools.
It is, and it doesn't stop there. Microscopy is also essential in environmental science.
Environmental science.
Yeah, helping us understand the complex ecosystems around us.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about how microscopes are used to study the environment.
Well, think about the microscopic world teeming within a single drop of water.
Oh.
There's a whole ecosystem of bacteria, algae, and other microorganisms that play crucial roles in maintaining water quality and nutrient cycles.
Interesting.
Microscopes allow scientists to identify and study these organisms,
Oh, I see.
providing insights into the health of our waterways and the impact of pollution.
So it's like taking a census of the invisible world in our rivers, lakes, and oceans. What else can we learn from these microscopic observations?
Well, we can also track the movement of pollutants through the environment.
Okay.
For example, scientists can use microscopy to study how microplastics accumulate in marine organisms,
Right.
providing evidence of the devastating impact of plastic pollution on our oceans.
So these microscopic observations are helping us see the bigger picture,
They are.
the interconnectedness of all living things and the impact we're having on our planet.
Exactly. And it's not just about understanding the problems.
Right.
Microscopy is also helping us develop solutions.
Like what?
Scientists are using microscopy to study how microorganisms can break down pollutants, offering potential strategies for bioremediation of contaminated environments.
So we're harnessing the power of the microscopic world to heal the macroscopic world. It's amazing to think about all the possibilities.
We know, right?
And we're just getting started.
We are.
As microscopic techniques continue to evolve, we can expect even more groundbreaking discoveries and innovations in the years to come.
I think so too.
Okay, I'm officially convinced microscopes are the unsung heroes of science and technology,
They are.
impacting so many different fields in ways I never imagined.
I know. It's amazing.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, I know there's a whole world of stunning images out there, micrographs that reveal the hidden beauty of the microscopic world.
They're beautiful.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, I'm particularly fond of the images captured using scanning electron microscopy.
Oh, yeah. What's so special about them?
They have this incredible depth and detail,
Yeah.
making even the most mundane objects look like alien landscapes.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What are some examples?
Imagine the delicate, intricate structure of a butterfly wing,
Okay.
magnified to reveal its iridescent scales arranged in perfect patterns.
Wow.
Or the intricate network of pollen grains on the surface of a flower.
Beautiful.
Each one a tiny work of art.
Wow, it's like seeing the world through the eyes of an ant.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that we're constantly discovering new wonders.
Yeah.
New perspectives on the world around us, thanks to these powerful tools.
This has been an incredible journey so far.
It has.
We've explored the history of microscopy, delved into the different types of microscopes,
Right.
and learned how these techniques are impacting everything from medicine to material science to forensics.
It's amazing.
But I have a feeling there's still more to come.
Oh, there is.
What else do you have in store for us?
Well, we've talked a lot about how microscopes work
Yeah.
and how they're used, but I think it's important to step back and consider the bigger picture. What does
Yeah.
it all mean? How has microscopy shaped our understanding of the world? And what can we learn from this invisible realm that we can apply to our lives?
Ooh, I like where this is going. Let's dive into those big questions.
Yeah.
So we've gone from simple lenses to electron beams,
Yeah.
from magnifying pond water to mapping atoms.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
Yeah.
But what does it all mean?
Well, one of the most profound takeaways from microscopy for me
Mhm.
is the realization that there's always more than meets the eye.
I see what you mean.
Our everyday experience
Yeah.
gives us a very limited view of reality.
Right.
But when we zoom in,
Yeah.
when we reveal those hidden layers of complexity,
Right.
it changes our whole perspective.
It's like we assume we have a grasp on the world,
Right.
but then microscopy reveals this whole other dimension teeming with life
Exactly.
and activity that we were completely oblivious to.
And it's not just about the scale.
Right.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of everything.
Okay.
When we look at a cell under a microscope,
Yeah.
we see that it's not just a simple blob.
Right.
It's a complex, dynamic system
Oh,
with intricate structures working together in harmony.
and that's just one cell.
I know, right?
Multiply that by the billions of cells in our bodies.
Yeah.
And then consider all the other organisms,
All the ecosystems.
all the ecosystems on our planet.
It's mind-boggling.
It is, and it makes you realize that we're all part of something much larger
We are
than ourselves.
much larger.
Microscopy reminds us that we're interconnected,
Absolutely.
not just with each other,
Right.
but with the entire web of life on Earth.
The web of life.
It's like we're zooming out from the microscope and seeing the whole planet as one giant interconnected organism.
That's a great way to put it.
And that brings us to another big question.
Okay.
How has this microscopic perspective shaped our understanding of the world?
Well, think about it. Before microscopes,
Yeah.
we had no idea that microorganisms even existed. We didn't know that diseases were caused by tiny pathogens,
Right.
that our bodies were made up of trillions of cells,
Crazy.
or that the soil beneath our feet was teeming with life.
We were stumbling around in the dark,
We were...
attributing illness to bad air or evil spirits.
Right.
Microscopy gave us a whole new framework for understanding the world,
It did.
one based on observation and scientific inquiry.
Exactly. It was a paradigm shift,
Huge.
a fundamental change in our understanding of life itself.
And it paved the way for countless advancements
It did.
in medicine, agriculture.
And technology.
So microscopy hasn't just revealed the unseen.
It's transformed the way we think about the scene.
It's given us this incredible tool for understanding the fundamental building blocks of our world.
The building blocks.
But beyond the scientific advancements,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the more personal or philosophical takeaways
That's a good question.
from this microscopic perspective?
Well, for me, it's a sense of awe and wonder.
Awe and wonder.
You know, when I look at a micrograph of a diatom,
Like diet.
this tiny single-celled alga
Okay.
with these intricate glassy shells,
Wow.
it's like looking at a work of art.
It is.
It reminds me that there's beauty and complexity everywhere,
I agree.
even in the smallest, most overlooked corners of the world.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
It's like those stunning images from the Hubble telescope,
right.
but on a completely different scale.
A different scale.
And it makes you appreciate the ingenuity of nature,
Absolutely.
the incredible diversity of life that exists on our planet.
And it also makes you realize how much we still don't know.
That's true.
Every time we develop a more powerful microscope,
Mm.
we uncover New layers of complexity, new mysteries to explore.
So it's not just about the answer.
It's not just about the answer.
About the questions.
The question.
The endless possibilities for discovery.
Exactly.
It's about cultivating a sense of curiosity and humility in the face of the vastness of the universe.
The vastness.
Even at the microscopic level.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. You know, it's funny.
What's that?
We started this deep dive talking about the limitations of our vision.
Right.
But in a way, microscopy has actually expanded our vision.
I agree.
Both literally and figuratively.
It's given us a new way of seeing.
A new way of seeing.
A deeper understanding of our place in the world.
This deep dive has certainly been a revelation for me.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the power of microscopy.
That's great to hear.
And the incredible insights it offers.
It is incredible.
Well, it's been a pleasure sharing this journey with you.
Likewise.
And to our listeners, if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, I encourage you to explore further.
There's so much out there.
There are countless resources available online.
Yeah.
From stunning micrographs to in-depth articles about the latest discoveries.
Definitely check it out.
Don't be afraid to dive in and discover the wonders that await you in the invisible world.
You never know what you might find.
Who knows? Maybe you'll even be inspired to pursue a career in microscopy.
That would be great.
And if you do, be sure to let us know.
We'd love to hear about it.
We'd love to hear about your discoveries. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of microscopy.
It's been fun.
Until next time.